Welcome, Illumineers, to Lorcana Talks. This is the first episode of our new Duck Talks presents Lorcana Talks. This is a show about two guys that are obsessed with a board game or a trading card game that doesn't even come out for a year now. And I'm one of your hosts. My name is Pirate Steven. Sometimes people call me Pirate. Sometimes people call me Steven. And I'm joined by a great friend and fellow Lorcana fiend. His name is Patrick.
How's everyone doing tonight? Good to hear. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. We planned a trip to D23 Expo well in advance and planned it out pretty solidly. And had a great time. It was a fun guys trip out to the California coast. We both live on the East Coast. Went to California to the D23 Expo to check out all things Disney, and happened upon this game, like I said, that we're obsessed about now. And I didn't know anything about it until Patrick said, "Hey, there's some cards we need to visit a booth to get." And yeah. It's kind of how it went, right?
Yeah. Trying to think, we just gonna dive into the D23 experience. We got to California the day before the D23 convention, and we had planned this trip for well over a year. So we had been strategizing. We're the type of people who hit the parks and, you got every move planned. You don't just kind of wing it. So when, as things are details are starting to come out about the convention and what's on the floor and who's going to be there and what merchandise we're selling, we're trying to plan all of it. And about a week before, we had seen, everything that was going to be on the show floor. We saw that Ravensburger Games was going to have a booth, and they had been teasing this new game that was more details to come at D23. So it was something that was on our radar. We didn't know much, but it was something we were kind of hoping to get some more info on. And we did not know what we were in store for when we put that on the tentative notes for the trip.
Yeah, and it's funny. So the first night we were there, like I said, we were in a hotel room strategizing this whole thing, and the media that Thursday night had access to the show floor and was posting all these pictures, and we were getting excited looking at all of the different store shopping opportunities they had there and seeing what we needed to buy. And then somebody posted pictures from the Ravensburger booth and of the cards. And like I had previously said, we knew these cards were going to be there. We didn't know much, just like the game. We didn't know much else except for that. And we saw the $50 price point of you can buy into the D23 promo cards with the foil. There's going to be 6 of them. And then it's $50. And we were like, oof, $50. Man.
Yeah. Because we, at that point in time, right before, the craziness of day one, we're trying to plot because every store, every third-party person that's going to be there, a group that's going to be there, releases their stuff. And of course there's the exclusive D23 stuff, the D23 marketplace and Mickey's of Glendale, and they have all this stuff, and it's slow. Like they tease it a little bit before, and you think, okay, I got a plan, I know what to buy. And then the night before happens, and everything, just this merchandise floodgates open. And so we're like, oh God, we're trying to plan everything, and we're like, okay, we definitely want the cards, and then we see the price point, and we're like, maybe not, because it's like 6 cards, and it's pretty steep. But I'm thinking, okay, thinking of other collectible card games out there. There are Pokemon cards that would easily be worth that. And we go back, and again, as the night goes on, the slowly more images start to pop up. We get to see a glimpse of the art style. I remember, because we went over that night before, we went over to California Adventure, and we were in line. I believe it was at the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout ride, and the line was super long because it was their big Halloween overlay. And we're just in line, and we're on our phones, and we're trying to get hyped for the ride. And I remember, the first look at one of the cards Steve shows me, we're like, ooh, that's pretty good. I think it may have been the Brave Little Tailor Mickey was the first one we saw, and like just fell in love with the art style. And so like that whole night we're going back and forth, like, okay, maybe we take the dive on this. And so we said let's hit it. And it was, next day came, and day one starts, and we're part of the craziness of getting onto the show floor, which is a story in and of itself. But it's one of the first places we hit. Was it the first place we went to? I'm trying to remember.
Well, we did pass by the Super 7 booth, and I saw that Ebenezer Scrooge figure that I had to have. But we eventually made our way all the way to that Ravensburger booth. We were going there. We were going to go over there anyway, regardless, because Duck Talks has a good relationship with their marketing people, and we're big fans of their villainous games, and really everything they put out is just high quality. That Gargoyles Awakening game is one of my favorite like design looking games, and it's a phenomenal. If you don't have that, you should get it. It's a Target. But every one of their villainous versions I have back here, and we had to, and they let us in like hall room or hall C, and we had to get to hall A to all the way across the opposite side to get to the Ravensburger booth, and so much eye candy to see on the way. There's so much going on at that expo. But not everybody goes straight to the show floor. There was the Disney Legends panel and everything else to distract you. So we got, and the Ravensburger booth was in a really great location too. Could not have been a better location for them, because it was right next to the Funko booth and the Loungefly booth. Which, though, if you're a Funko fanatic or Loungefly, you know that people are insane about those things. So later on, when we tell our stories, and the line for Ravensburger was actually longer than those, it was just not expected whatsoever. But also, Mickey's of Glendale, the big Imagineering store, was right there too. So everything was there.
It was on, because you had Funko on one side, Mickey's of Glendale on the other side, and then underneath it was this massive, was it the Pandora bracelets, fancy high end kind of jewelry. So it was like geek collectibles, fun board games, and then like fancy sterling silver bracelets. So most of it lined up, but they had a great spot though. They kind of were right there, and in the midst of all of it. Also next to a very nice snow cone booth, for what it's worth, which, between Funko and Ravensburger, you need a break between those lines.
Right. If you have any money left. But we got there first thing. And like I said, our goal was to get these cards. And the line, luckily, was not that long, because people had not got the word yet that this was the hottest thing on the show floor. And we waited probably 5 minutes at the most. and they had several people work in the Ravensburger booth, and they hand you like a piece of paper or laminated piece of paper that had all the different items that they had at their booth, which was a lot of their villainous games. They had really great deals on that. Their Jungle Cruise game, which is another great one. And people, the great thing was that they weren't just selling these cards. Like, people were buying the villainous and the puzzles and everything there. So they had a lot of fans of their products.
Yeah.
And their booth was gorgeous, and it was straight Lorcana all over the place, with large size Brave Little Tailor artwork of the card, and then you go into the booth and there's a trailer playing, and like oversized cards of the 6 cards from this D23 starter set.
And they had jigsaw puzzles too. I mean, Ravensburger is big on jigsaw puzzles, and they were selling a ton of Disney-centric jigsaw puzzles. And but yeah, there was they had a crazy good bundle. If you never played Disney Villainous, it was like the base set and 2 or 3 of the starters and you got basically 1 or 2 free. And if I didn't have to worry about lugging that back in a backpack cross country, I would have dove on it. But yeah, so they had a full display of all their games, but it was very clear. They were there to sell some games, but it was very clear what the focus was for Ravensburger and being there, and it was definitely Lorcana.
Yeah, and I don't think they knew that it was going to blow up the way it did, for sure, because we went through that line, and they scan your D23 Expo badge, and your gift for visiting their booth was the Brave Little Tailor Expo D23 Expo card that I got right here. And you won't be able to see this on this camera, maybe you will, but there's a D23 Expo logo right here, and this is gorgeous artwork from this first iteration of Mickey in the game, and it was cool just to get that.
Yeah. And in addition to, it was nice because day one you get the card, and they knew you were going to be lugging it through a convention center all day, so they gave you the card protector, which is always a nice touch. And then you got a little pin as well, with some artwork kind of featured there.
Yeah, yep. I love that. Love that Brave Little. It's such a glow up from the original Brave Little Tailor design of Mickey. So that like I said, that was worth it just there. But then we finally got to the front of the line, and that's where they sold the D23 Expo set, which came in a nice holographic foil type envelope. Patrick is displaying his right there. Yes, I got mine as well. For everybody out there, don't be jelly, please. The thing, and that's the other thing on social media. Everybody was really mad, actually, about that these cards were available there, and they were worried that they weren't going to be able to get them as well. And these cards are going to be part of the base set. They just won't have the D23 Expo icon at the bottom of the card. Which, you know what? Yeah. I know everybody's a collector and they want everything, but at least that is something that a lot of other companies won't do, where as far as exclusives go, because they'll have an exclusive, and it is exclusive to that show or that event, and you won't be able to get that in the regular set. I think it's very cool that Ravensburger is doing that fan service of saying, you know what, you will be able to have this Brave Little Tailor. You will be able to have the 6 cards in that set, which, it's going to unbox.
You got it. Hold on to it.
Yeah. So inside the envelope, there's your 6 first cards from this set, besides the Mickey, and one is Elsa, which that's going to be a popular one, and Captain Hook. And I love this design on Captain Hook. You won't be able to see that clearly, but there is some, and each one of these cards has foil, like the holographic foil on the image.
Is something that they mentioned too. And I forget in what form that they mentioned it, but obviously there you have the D23 logo, the first edition right next to it, and they also said that the style of foiling on these specific cards. Now, keep in mind the Mickey does not have that; it is just a standard card. But those 6 have a style of foiling that they said was probably going to be exclusive as well. They were very careful with their wording. So I very much could see that these 6 cards obviously will be available when Chapter 1, the base set, comes out. And they might still have a foiling treatment on them, but it might not be the same as what we saw at D23.
And so the other cards, besides Elsa and Hook, are Rockstar Stitch, which is different because in Lilo and Stitch, he's all Rockstar Elvis look. So this is a different Rockstar look for him. And Robin Hood, which is he's got so many fans out there. Maleficent is the dragon, and Cruella de Vil. And I really love. I mean, Ravensburger is villainous, man, right? Villain people. So they did 3 villains and 3 heroes, which is really cool. And I think the villains ones are my favorite from the set. And if I had to pick, and I will pick my favorite, it's absolutely Captain Hook.
Yeah. I don't know if I have one favorite in particular because they're all great. I think it's interesting, intentionally what they chose here for the 6. And again, we can go full-blown conspiracy theory. And we'll talk more on these in future installments. But each one, it's a different coloring, representing the different kind of categories of cards that we'll be seeing, or the inks, as they call them. And here's my theory. This is our Lorcana Talks exclusive crackpot theory here. Characters like Cruella in this bottom row here, Maleficent, and Robin Hood look very much. I mean, there's an artist styling on them, yes, but they look very much like their movie versions. Then you have like Hook, Elsa, Nikki. They have kind of some unique costuming to them, some different changes to them. And then you have Stitch, who is just radically something completely different than what we saw in the movie, right? This style of rock. And if you look at the key words down here, you have, for the ones that look more like their movie versions, they are called Storyborn. The ones that have kind of a more modified costume are called Dreamborn. And then Stitch, the one who's like really different, is a Floodborn. I have no idea what any of that means, but I think it might have something to do with some of the lore behind this game, and some of the mechanics that are going to be revealed later as well.
Yeah, and our a good mutual friend of ours, John Vignacchi, once said the Disney bench is pretty deep, and actually he said deep bench, bro. But yeah, they could go really hard into the Disney archives and library, and that's why it's exciting to get into this at the beginning, because you know how insane it's going to go at some point. Think of it as going back to the 90s and being there when Pokemon trading card game was first announced, and being able to get that first set or any promo cards for that first set. This is just as big as that, and potentially could rival Pokemon one day. Who knows?
Well, hopefully, unlike Pokemon, my mom won't come in and throw away all those first editions that I once had. So I'm gonna make sure. Yeah.
You think they'll have like Disney Lorcana Go on your phone?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was thinking, thought about the parallels between those games. I got for the, Halloween time's coming up. I got for the trick or treaters. They got these little packs of Pokemon cards you can put in with the candy, right? Give them out to trick or treaters. And I was just thinking, flash forward 2-3 years from now, maybe we'll be giving some trick or treaters some like mini Halloween Lorcana packs.
Yeah, that's what I would want. That's what I would give out. The other cool thing is or I don't know how long it lasted or when they started selling out of it, but if you bought anything from the Ravensburger booth, they gave you a copy of Disney Villainous, perfectly retched, which is the Cruella de Vil edition, and this is the Target version that has has this special slipcover and an exclusive game piece.
Yeah, the marbling, the styling on the game pieces looks a little different. I'll just pull that one out.
And that's like a $30 value. So when you think of, hey, we bought this $50 Lorcana promo set, and we got a $30 board game that went along with it. It makes, even more value going towards it there. So, which is great. Like I said, if you want something to do for this year that you have to wait for the game to come out, you should play some of the other stuff that Ravensburger has, like I said, the Gargoyles game or any of their Villainous games. They just came out with Star Wars Villainous. I know, Patrick, you got that for your birthday yesterday.
Sure did.
I have that at home as well, and it's just so great how they could branch out, and they don't skip on anything as far as the details go. The cards in Villainous and the Gargoyles and all these other games are just gorgeous artwork. The game pieces are gorgeous. The board is gorgeous, and
for Villainous, the artwork is gorgeous. I think what's interesting too is that when you look at something like a Villainous, there's a lot of thought put into the game mechanics of each character, and you can tell, this action or whatever this character does, it reflects what they did in the movie. Whatever they're doing to the deck or the opponent, and I think it's going to be a lot of interesting insight into how they're going to bring that into Lorcana. So.
Yeah, and we made our purchase. We got, and like we said, this is the first thing we did at the expo. And if you've ever been to D23 Expo or any conventions, you know that once you buy some, or if you go anywhere, if you go to Disney parks or anywhere, you buy something at the beginning of the day, you're hauling at your entire day. So we had to guard these cards through panels, through multiple crazy shopping experiences. And we went and saw Walt Disney's private plane, and we're having our cards with us everywhere.
I remember us saying, do we really want to get these now, or should we wait till the end of the day? I remember that conversation.
Which it would not have lasted.
No, I am so glad we worked against our better judgment there.
Yeah, because we later found out that, so it's a 3-day event, and they wanted it spread out. So they could have sold through their entire inventory the first day, let's be honest. But they sold 300 each day, which is very fair, and just the crazy demand for it. It rose each day. But we're still on day one. So what else happened? What else? Oh, so around the Ravensburger booth, like I said, they had a lot of representation there as far as the marketing people. Like I said, we're friends with them, so I got to talk to them a little bit, and then the game designers for both Villainous and Lorcana were there as well. And of course, me, I'm going to the first person I see that they point out that's a game designer. I'm like, look, when we get some Disney afternoon representation in the game, come on, hook me up. If Darkwing Duck isn't in this game, what are we even doing here? Or Gargoyles, can you imagine? It's gonna be insane. But also the Villainous people are there, and I'm already pitching my Disney afternoon Villainous version with Magica and Negaduck and everything. So they were excited, but they were not prepared for the amount of autographs that people like by day 3, there was a line of the game designers that were just signing everything. And I'm sure most of the people that are getting these autographs had no idea who these people were at the time, or even when they got home with their signed envelope, they probably didn't know what the names were. But I have seen they have like websites that will tell you who each person's name is and what they do, which is great. And all these people are very talented. So I'm glad they got the recognition. I'm sure they feel like rock stars now. And now they have a year to deliver on this game that has such a high demand now.
And credit to them too. I know we saw them early on in the convention, and we dropped by that booth a couple times. And as the news kind of got out and the game was increasing in popularity, they were just as approachable and friendly when the line was going around the block as they were, opening day Friday. It was, people asking them tons of questions. They obviously can't reveal a ton of details, right? Because we're still, for all we know, still a year out from this game. And so, you kind of get, the general, well, we can't say yet, but again, just very friendly, talking a little bit about what they can about their process of the art and the character creation. Though you really wish, oh man, they were very tight-lipped, as they should be, because who knows what they have planned. I remember we asked, are these going to be kind of traditional like booster pack, blind bags, starter deck kind of thing, or is this going to be more like Villainous, where we get a base box and expansions? And very friendly answers. We can't say yet, but stay tuned. But yeah, just again, very approachable and answered what they could. Wanted to talk about as much as they could. And we're very friendly when you came up with requests for characters and stuff. And to Steve's point too, let it be known, fans of Duck Talks, that there was not a retailer or distributor or anyone on the D23 showroom floor, halls A, B, or C, who were not visited by the Pirate Steven and were not told to include Darkwing Duck into their products. I think you canvassed that entire place, and everyone accepted. They either thought it was a good idea, or if they didn't know who Darkwing Duck was, by God, they knew who he was by the time they left.
I was wearing Darkwing Duck socks, so I really had to go check out my Rock'em socks. Darkwing Duck right here. But yeah, I remember going to a Hallmark booth, and I'm like, all right, where are the designers at? What do I got to do to get a Darkwing Duck or Gargoyles ornament? And I had to go through the list of all the Disney afternoon shows. And they're like, ooh, Rescue Rangers. Like, how do you forget about these shows? And then you remember, and you, oh my gosh, that's a good idea. That would do great. And it leads me, we'll have future episodes where we talk about our wish list and such. But I mean, when they do come out with a character that is like one of my top 10 or 25, I have so many, I could do like a top 100 list. But yeah, I'm going to need whatever versions and variants they have of it. So if this is like a Pokemon type thing where there's going to be a full art card and a holographic card and all these different versions, gold, foil, whatever the heck it is, I'm gonna have all of them. And that's the collector in me. And we were talking about this earlier before we started. It's like, what are we gonna? We're both really huge Disney fans. We're Disney collectors and collectors in general, and we love games. So, but let's just talk about this now. As far as trading card games go, I mean, not trading card games. When I was young, I was a baseball card collector. So I still have. I wouldn't let my mom throw away my Will Clark baseball card collection. So I still have that here. But yeah, my kids. I have three boys, and The two oldest ones were and still are into Pokemon cards. So I've spent so much money on Pokemon trading card packs and and seeing them me just give them each $5 to go buy one pack and them not getting a EX or one of those special foil cards, and then pretty much go, oh, this is worthless. And me just seeing the $5 bill just going up in flames. That's kind of what this game's going to be like. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of dupes.
I think one thing that's promising, for what it's worth, about Ravensburger being at the helm of this thing, they've never really done a blind bet, a booster pack style game, to my knowledge. So I hope that they've been, it's a group that knows how to make games, how to make them fair, and I hope that they've kind of looked at some of the pitfalls and the mistakes that a lot of, like Wizards of the Coast and other card companies have done when they've done these blind bags or other exclusive kind of things. And I'm interested to see their take on it. That being said, we're still probably going to have a lot of dupes, and who knows?
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about. It's like we're going to have all these dupes. We're going to be dropping some cash on this game and doing unboxings and so when you open a pack, is it called an unpacking? I don't know. I'm not. We'll get there to figure. We'll get to that level where
there should be a more mystical name for this game, like illumination.
I'm illuminating this pack. So yeah, they. That's what I was thinking. So I was originally approaching this as a collector and going, you know what, I'm gonna have to have every card and everything. So, but then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna be so involved in it that I'm gonna have a pretty cool deck, I'm sure. So I think I'm gonna go destroy some people in some local comic shop card tournaments when they come up and be that type of person that makes kids cry as I pull out my special full art Goliath from Gargoyles and everything. So yeah,
you got to make them cry with a princess card.
Oh, that also. Yeah. If I like slam down, I wouldn't slam it down. It'd be in a really nice case. But if I put my Elsa D23 card on there to distract them, because they'd be, oh, why do you? There's only 900. Yeah, I know. I was there.
But yeah. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I had no point. Why don't you go ahead and say what you were going to say?
No, I think everyone. Obviously, there has there's just in the little bit that we've seen, this brief glimpse, people have really taken to the news of this game, the prospect of a collectible trading card game with Disney characters. And I think, obviously there's a lot of great sources out there that are going to be covering this as well. I think, in terms of why we thought, what do we have to add? We're coming from this as lifetime Disney diehards fans. Personally speaking, I haven't played much of a collectible card game since high school. Dabbled with the Pokemon cards. There was a weird, awkward stint where I was pretty good at the Dragon Ball Z trading card game. But I haven't really touched it since then. I do have a 6-year-old who is slowly getting into the Pokemon cards and pretty good at it, worryingly so for me. But I think all that to say, I think this is probably a great place for people who are lifetime Disney fans who are trying to just dip their toes in the water of a collectible card game. Maybe they've played a couple Disney board games. God knows there's a ton of them out there that are great. But this could be new uncharted territory. And so this is kind of, a community we were thinking, let's go along for the ride together, see how it works. Also, generating that kind of community is a pretty powerful thing around something Disney related like this. A little bit of background on how Steve and I met. We became friends through a video game, Disney video game called Disney Infinity, which is when it was in its prime, took up a lot of our time and might be where some of you know us from. But we bonded over that. We met so many great people through that game that we still keep in touch with and play games with today. So if there's an opportunity where we could create and foster that kind of community with this, we said, heck yeah, let's jump on it.
Yeah, we know it's important to get into it. And we know there's a lot of sites out there. Ever since this thing launched, there's been multiple podcasts, multiple websites, and fan accounts, and we're just joining in and having fun with everybody. And I think it's going to be a good ride, and I'm excited for this game. I think it could expand into video games at some point. I think it might be that big eventually. Ravensburger is probably going to make puzzles at some point, just to keep their synergy with all the different product lines. Patrick, do you know if you're going to be leaving your cards, these special cards, in this this display, or are you going to put them in nice hard cases like this?
Yeah, I actually I'm on the fence right now. I picked up one of those cases, but I think mine's a little different. The size isn't quite the same, and I'm afraid of it jiggling around a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to spend way too much mental energy trying to figure out how to preserve these cards as if they should be in a museum, as they should. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep them in their little magic folder for now.
Yeah, I went crazy about it because I'm like, I need one for this Mickey, right? So I should probably buy a 5-pack or a 10-pack, and maybe I could put the rest of these cards in it. And then I just bought a 30-pack because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be opening so many packs that I'm going to need to put all the special ones in it. My whole deck that I bring to this card shop to play in the tournament could be all these thick cases where I go, ooh.
It's going to be like a 3-foot tall deck.
Yeah, it's like intimidation factor. I'm just going to get there, I'm going to stare at them and drop the D23 cards on there.
It'll be like in the Flintstones when they play poker. They just have like the stone tablets.
Yeah, and it's so. The other thing about this game, well, we'll just talk about. Go back and talk about day 2 and day 3 was the word had been out after the first day. These cards sold out, so the line was just ridiculous. There was extreme panels going on. I think on day 3, the Disney Parks panel, and day 2, the Marvel ones, and people weren't in line for those because they wanted to get in line to make sure they secured these cards, which the value of them went ridiculously high, and still is high on eBay. I think this Sorcerer Mickey card goes for like $250 sometimes, and these other cards, I think I saw it for $8,000. We're so passionate about these things. We didn't even think of selling them on secondary market. I don't know if that means we're dumb or what, but we're passionate about it, and I don't know. It's kind of cool to be one.
Hopefully, we're not like those people who just held on to the GameStop stock for too long.
Yes,
but no, I think we're attached to them. I feel like the effort it took to get them, not necessarily just because, like we said, we went there early, we got them on, but just the effort it was of holding those that entire first day, basically handling it like it was a newborn child all day. I don't think we could possibly give these up now. I think we bonded with our card sets.
That's a fact. I mean, we could have paid for a D23 Expo for like this year and probably the next 2.
Yeah.
But hey, who knows? Maybe in a couple of years these will be like 40,000. I don't know. We'll see. And we even had the thought of we're like, after that first day, we're like, we should probably buy more of these, and we just couldn't because the line was just ridiculously long.
And yeah, like you said, that line was so long, especially on the final day. I remember it wrapped it because where they were, like we talked about the position in the expo, it's kind of right on the furthest left hand side, which allowed them to basically make a line that went through their little pre-made queue and then snaked around the entire side of the wall through the almost like quarter of the convention center. And people thought that was the line for the Disney Parks panel. Um, Constantly asking, it was crazy. I mean, you genuinely felt, well, I know they were probably tired and exhausted, but you felt genuinely good for these people, just in like how 48 hours they went from like kind of this new budding thing. Obviously they're coming to this thing to generate buzz, and here comes Sunday, and they are the talk of the showroom floor, which is just insane. Like, just kind of coming out of nowhere. So
yeah, for sure. Because I remember I've been to quite a few D23 expos, and Ravensburger has been there before, and before it was just, hey, come see our new villainous Cruella de Vil puzzle, or the new puzzles, because I believe at that time that I went, they were just starting to do the villainous puzzle collection, and that was their big thing. And now they're like the kings and queens of D23 Expo 2022.
Yeah, they've done good, but yeah, you can tell just between being at not their first D23, they've put out a ton of games between. Yeah, we've said it before, but between how they've handled the villainous series, how they've handled things like their games based on the parks attractions. You can tell this has been a carefully fostered relationship that they've developed with Disney over the last, however many years. It's a long time coming. So it definitely doesn't feel like something that they're being rushed into. It feels like this has been kind of something they've been building to for years now, which is great.
Yeah, they just came out with a Space Mountain board game, which seems like, why wouldn't a Space Mountain board game have come out before now? But I mean, it has like even like the outer exterior sign of Space Mountain in there that you can set up when you're playing it, and the attention to detail and the artwork is what makes me have full confidence in Lorcana's future, and I'm excited for it. So yeah. Just to do some more, give you some more details about this show. Again, this is Lorcana Talks. This is a subset of Duck Talks, which, if you don't know what Duck Talks is, you're on the Duck Talks YouTube channel right now and watching this video. And we are a Disney Afternooniverse podcast, blog, News Central, and merch all over the place. Our Twitter account at Duck Talks has been doing really well lately. All the time it's doing well. I'm on it nonstop, posting all the news you have to know about anything Disney Afternoon Show related. And that has expanded into more Disney news and Marvel and Star Wars. And so me and Patrick said, you know what, we should do a Lorcana Talks. We have a Marvel Talks. Who knows? There could be a Mando Talks at some point. But that's where Lorcana Talks name comes from, subset of Duck Talks. And we're excited to do this show. You can follow us at Duck Talks. And at Lorcana Talks is our official Twitter account. We post things on there. As much as we can find new news on Lorcana. It's not just going to be news, and that's not the type of entertainment we're going to bring to you for this format and on our Twitter in this show. We're going to do more of the Disney fan inside of us, and talk about the characters that are on the cards. Maybe give you some experiences that we have and feelings we have about the characters and the shows and the movies they come from. And we're going to talk to you about our experiences of opening packs and probably being frustrated that we got our 30th Stitch, and all the ups and downs that will come with this game. And we hope you will be there for the ride and journey with us. So we invite you again to follow us at Duck Talks, at Lorcana Talks. You can follow me at the Pirate Steven. And Patrick, where can they find you at?
Posted Pat, at Posted Pat.
At Posted Pat, and we'll both be tweeting from at Lorcana Talks. And we hope to grow this community with you. And like I said, join us for this magical Lorcana journey. We'll have to think of some fun intro and closing remarks for this show as more info for the game comes out. Hopefully soon, it's good. Things will trickle out of here and then. There'll be more shows, probably more promo cards that will release. Patrick, anything else you want to talk about?
I think you said it all. Yeah, no, I'm excited to be along for the ride, and I'm especially excited for the episode where we discussed how we went to the local game store and got absolutely destroyed by a 10-year-old.
It's not going to happen. You know it's going to happen. It will. I remember my son and my nephew got really good into the Pokemon tournaments. And so far, the fact that my nephew was like nationally ranked in his age division. He went to the nationals, which one was like in Indianapolis and one was in Anaheim at one point. And it was just seeing him as small as he is going against like these full adults and just making them mad. I'm sure that will happen. I'm sure that will happen to us. But like I said, I'm gonna be throwing down some cards on that table and I might have like we're gonna have so many dupes, it's gonna be ridiculous. So it's gonna be a fun journey, and thank you again for watching this show, this first episode, this debut episode. We'll get more shows rolling as we have things to talk about. That they might announce a new card one day, and then we'll probably get on and just talk about it, whether we think it's cool or not, which we probably don't think it's cool. So until next time, this is Pirate Steven and Patrick from Lorcana Talks. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.